You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Well, hello and happy Friday, or maybe it's happy Saturday, wherever you are. We're just so glad to have you with us. You are watching USA Global TV, or maybe you're listening on Business Talk Radio. Either way, we're so happy to have you join us for our show presenting pet psychic Aminah and her guests. I am Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. I'm your host for the show, your executive producer, director, and broadcast engineer. Let's bring the star of our show on, Aminah, joining us from California. Welcome, friend.
Thank you. And it's sunny. And
what surprising.
I'd have to go to a different topography for, to get it something different than sunny. Maybe a little clouds. But no, I hope you're great. I have loved your shows. I've been tuning in all week and just make sure I get a little clip here while I'm doing other things and listening in the background. I don't know if people realize they can do that. You can put you up on LinkedIn. I was listening from LinkedIn a couple times, then Facebook from a couple times, and then just straight from YouTube. And it's great.
Thank you.
Go for a walk. And you just have so many topics, and I love learning. So it's like, cool.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
It's so neat, the diversity of the people that you're talking to, and everybody's so fabulous. And that's really hard to say. Sometimes you go, that's not my topic. But all of them, the authors and some of the singers, well, you saw me dance into one of the singers.
Thank you for saying that. I have to say that I used to, at the end of the week, I would write down all the topics that were discussed. And, if we have 18 shows, sometimes it's 15 shows a week, it depends. Sometimes there's 2 people on. There's a lot of topics, and each person might have multiple topics. And I just was looking at how profound some of the topics are and the stories that people share. And sometimes, seriously, I just cry because I just think to myself, I can't believe that I'm in this position to meet all these people from around the world. When I was selling meetings and events and employee recognition systems up until last year, it's truly amazing, truly amazing.
But it's a testament to your work. I really want you to take back some of the honor there because you came and found us. I hadn't found you. I don't think I saw one of your posts and that kind of stuff. So you've really gotten out there to bring us in. And I'm just so excited because I've got more big news for our show. Another amazing new guest is coming on. And today, again, we have somebody that just has a life that I've never touched. And Alx is coming from a whole different place, and I have a really great question for her. So, everybody, text it, call us, whatever it is. We'd love to take your questions too.
Fantastic. Thank you. I'm going to put up your banner and I'm going to spotlight you. And, we have people who join us all the time, new people. So why don't you share a little bit about your background and the work that you do to make the world a better place, Aminah?
Okay. So Bridging Worlds is literal. I am a communicator with all things nature, animals. I have had this gift since I was born. People ask me all the time where I trained. I did go to college. I did work in a veterinary hospital. I really believe in the balance of education. So I got a minor in oceanography because I just absolutely love leafy sea dragons. By the way, they give birth, not the males, not the girls. So lots of trivia I know on these types of topics. And I really want to share that. But what I do for most regular people is I'm the translator. I can hear, see, and feel. I'm also an empath, so I feel a lot of what you say or the way you say it to help you with your pets, to do it better, to help you with training. I am a trained trainer and have worked on my own pets and rescued hundreds of pets, it feels like, and I'm sure it's less than that, and work with shelters a lot. So that's me in a nutshell. I am really gifted to hear what I hear, and I learn something from all of you every single time. So thank you for welcoming me into your home.
Thank you, Aminah. That was quite beautiful.
Didn't write it down.
Fantastic. So let's welcome our guest. Alx has been here before. Do you want to give a little bit of background on her?
Yeah, I mean, Alx is the expert, but her depth of knowledge of, and I hope she corrects me if I use the wrong terms, of the metaphysical and the studying she's done and the time she's spent understanding just a different spiritual realm. I'm hoping that everybody is learning along with me. When I first went public, I knew what I knew, but I knew nothing about psychics. It was not in my world. It was not a part of this. So I want to introduce all the layers of different ways to think. And she is really a part of that. And she's really going to open us another way to find that peace, find that harmony, find that, if it's the next job or the one you need to walk away from, and that type of stuff. And I'm really excited to have her really open our eyes to another way of considering the world.
Beautiful. Well, without further ado, joining us from California, it's Alx Utterman, Global Spiritual Healing Leader. Welcome. Nice to see you again.
Hi. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Fantastic. How about you?
Good. Yeah, I'm happy. It's
And
another
it's sunny
gorgeous day in
outside,
Southern Cal.
We were talking before the show that there's some surges going on there with the Delta variant and getting people to reevaluate things once again.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh boy. Yes. Yeah. LA, I think, is, poised to be hit again. We already went through it once, and friends on the front lines are gearing up.
Yeah. That's the heartbreaking part. I know is I understand the medical community is just really, really strapped. And read something from a nurse right before I came on, and she's just begging people can you imagine the therapy they all need to go to watch people just die every day, and they're in the healing industry.
Yeah, and the worst of it is now it's young people and children.
Yeah, and my daughter in Spain wanted to come back in March, and I keep saying no, the plane. I'm terrified of her getting on a plane.
Yeah.
And she's been now overseas for over 2.5 years.
Oh my gosh.
And she left before pandemic, and then we just told her to go to ground. And then of course she got married, and all this.
Yes.
So what's the situation like in Spain?
You know what? They're about the same as us. They cracked down in different ways. The first time, they literally gave people citations if they were out in pairs in the beginning, when you could only walk, with one person, even if they were in your same household, because you couldn't prove it. And so my daughter and her now husband got a citation because they were walking, because they have to walk the dog, and they allow that to you to walk the dog and all that kind of stuff. But weird things happen everywhere, and they're doing the best they can. My daughter actually got COVID. I was on a Zoom meeting with 20 people, and a message came through up on my computer. It says, just wanted to let you know, Mom, I just tested positive for COVID. Like, oh my God, look at my face. I'm good. I'm really good. Because she's in another country, so I couldn't get off. But, have you ever had to have that poker face? I'm fine. I just found out my daughter has a deadly disease. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
She healed. She did really well. But Alx, you and I know, and Jacalyn, you've lived long enough that things happen that put us in the place we need to be. Mm-hmm. And yes, it was terrifying, and it really worked on their relationship. Mm. They were engaged already by then, and it really worked on that. And his family, oh my gosh, what a blessing. His mom and dad just stepped in. My daughter's vegan. And so when she ended up needing surgery later on. And that's why I'm glad she got COVID, because she was put in front of a doctor. And
my God, right?
I kind of have a tummy ache, and it's no big deal. And, I'm in a foreign country, can't speak the language, and her husband, of course, speaks English. But it put her in that chain of medical. And then when she started having pain, they went, yeah, this is a little different. So, call me and said, what's an MRI? Let me explain. Get in tube, plug your ears, just lay there. I mean, it's pretty simple. So I want to encourage people, and I know we all have lived long enough, go with what you're doing. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's a challenge, but guess what? You must need to be kicked in the butt to learn this lesson, because that's how my experience has been. I've been a little slow on the uptake. My daughter didn't want to get surgery. She wants, I'll just wait till I come home. And your gut blows open because you have a mass. And I'm like, honey, they're going to make this big stitch. They're going to go down. They're going to take care of it, and they're going to come right back out. This is really simple. Honest. I've had a few kids. This is less than that. And it went really, really well. But remember, challenges are not there to kill you physically, mentally, or whatever. They're there to move you forward because something else is coming or some change needs to happen, and it moves you into that. It really cemented her relationship with his family, and his mom almost killed the doctors because they weren't taking care of her right. And I honor her every day and say, oh my gosh, thank you. So remember, things happen for a reason, and then you learn from them. But take a deep breath, meditate, right, Alx?
Yes, definitely.
For me, we've had a global spiritual healing leader here who
exactly.
never needed you more than now.
And I want to address this, actually. I think it's a brilliant subject. In the world that I live in, which is spiritual healing, and, a lot of people who are way out there in terms of the esoteric and the deeper, energetic understanding of this planet, there is a contingent of people who have this idea that spiritual healing or holistic, anything that involves energy somehow takes the place of Western medicine. And I have to say that's complete nonsense.
I agree completely.
It's completely nonsense. It's never either or. And, I'm constantly saying to people, listen, if you break your leg, you're going to need to see a Western doctor, right? What are you going to do? Set it yourself? You're going to pray that it gets set? Come on. No. And same with pharmaceuticals. There are times when you need pharmaceuticals. Yes, everybody wants to do an alternative, try this, try that. Yes, of course. And there are many healing modalities that can address a lot of different things, from acupuncture to body work to, herbal medicine to Ayurvedic, whatever. Great, fantastic. And when you've exhausted that, and if it doesn't work, and or take it in concert with Western medical, they're not opposite ends of a spectrum. They're really not. And
they're not an either or. It's an and.
No.
You use what works. I don't know what but they make 9 million types of bandages. Have anybody ever really looked at how many bandages there are out there? I got a cut, I got a broken cut. Think about it as simple as that. Is it Tylenol, Excedrin, the doctor, a psychologist, whatever you need? You need to find that. And the same thing with natural healers.
Yeah, absolutely.
With you and I doing what we do, I get the biggest question is it time for a vet? Is it time for a vet? Well, I'm glad you at least that's on the table.
Yes.
There is a time for a vet. I've actually been over. Well, could you come over? No. I might have worked in a vet clinic and was licensed at the time to work there, but this is higher up than me.
Yeah.
And why doesn't God tell us? Maybe you're not ready.
Or you're not listening. God's telling you, go to a vet.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. That's exactly where I was leaving you. It's like, hello. Okay, how do we hit you in the head virtually?
So wait, I have a question in reference to what God is telling us, or spirit or goddess, or whatever people want to look at it. So now we have this, and I just have to bring it up because it's going on, the Delta variant. So is God giving us a message? Is there something we need that we're not listening? Is it that everyone should be vaccinated? Is it something else?
Yeah.
Alx, what are your thoughts?
It's all of it.
I can tell you from my own perspective. So I spent many years living in India and going very deeply into what is the nature of God. And in the Vedic tradition of India, Vedic it's not a religion, it means knowledge. The understanding is that the energy of this planet, of course, it's kind of obvious, is polarized, right? It's a polarity. And one of those polarities is between masculine and feminine. So when they're explaining about the nature of God, they're talking about divine father and divine mother both, and on equal footing, but very different, you could say, departments of the energy. The God the Father is like the infinity, the silence, the pure nothing, in which there is only bliss. It's like the pure unconditional love at the center of everything. The feminine is the creative principle, the putting it into motion, the making forms and souls and beings and, grass and trees and animals and people and insects and everything. So she's like the dynamic principle of creation. Because it's creating a planet that is, by definition, everything that's in form is temporary, right? It's not eternal. It's not going to last. Whether it's a blade of grass, a human life, or an empire, everything has a cycle of destruction as well. So by the eternal reckoning, these things are temporary forms. It is, in a Vedic system, in the Sanskrit, they'll call it the Maya. It's not real. It's a smoke and mirrors show. It's a very convincing movie that we're living in our lives in this planet, but it's not real by the eternal understanding of it. So the whole thing is a kind of big illusion play. It's like Mother spinning her beautiful cinema stories through billions of lives and billions of species and creations and everything on this planet that are all very hypnotic to us. We think it's real, right? I think I am this person, this body, this history, this identity, and the underscore to that is, and when I die, I will cease to exist. That's the sort of illusion way of regarding the world. Whereas the truth is, no, each of us has a spark of that same creation energy, and we are the eternal, aware, awake essence of divinity that never really goes away. It just changes forms. So why I reference the Mother is because what's happening on our planet, and has been for quite some time, but especially I would say the last couple of decades, it's kind of amplified and it's accelerating, is there's a huge wake up going on. The consciousness of humanity is coming up very, very strongly. It's coming to a more divine, a more refined awareness of the eternal truths. What's really important, not so much the mundane, let me grab all I can get and have my life and oh my God, but I'm miserable anyway kind of mentality. Along with that consciousness rising, there is an enormous amount of negativity, of pain, of suffering, kind of like bubbling up to the surface. It's a kind of purification of the planet. And the way that is characterized from my understanding in India is Mother is like, she's birthing a new consciousness in this world. And in that birthing of the consciousness, she has labor pains. And she throws some of that pain on humanity to experience it. So you could say all the floods, tsunamis, wildfires, the earthquakes, the natural tragedies that happen to humanity are a kind of constant cycle and wave of her sort of labor pains. And in that process, it is a kind of like, wake up and see what's beyond this stuff. Wake up and see what's beyond this. Wake up, wake up, wake up is the kind of inner meaning of her showing these things through the lens of nature, you could say, or through the mirror of nature. I feel that the pandemic is like a compendium of all of those kinds of nature disasters thrown into one thing because it affects everybody global wide. It's not just this region or this or that. I really feel like the invitation is wake up. And part of that wake up is wake up to perceive what's beyond life and death. Wake up to perceive what is the purpose of your life. It's not to grab as much as you can and then die. I'm sorry. It's a big motivation for why we're here is to take care of each other. And we're seeing that people who have that kind of mindset or that kind of feeling or understanding about our role with each other on this planet are managing to surf the waves of this thing pretty well. And people who don't have that understanding and aren't considerate and caring about other people are really getting hit hard. Like they're getting hammered. It's a life or death stakes at this point, right? So I feel like it's all her reflection. And it's like she's throwing a big ball at humanity. Can we catch it? And can we throw it back in a beautiful way, in a divine way, and say, yes, Mother, Nature, God, whatever you want to call it, we do understand. We do have to come up. We do have to start to care more about others than ourselves. We do have to come in a unified way as a human race together to confront this thing. And if we don't, well, we're going to see the loss and the tragedies that we're seeing. It's a painful medicine, but she's not unfair.
And we as a species are pretty hard-headed.
You bet. That's why we keep eating the smacks.
It's like hitting rocks.
Very stubborn.
Nothing in between. Everything you said is so true. I used to teach history, and I talked about the 1918 flu pandemic for years. So all my families, this is all going on, and this is coming, and we're going to get the shot, and we're all going to go to ground. And I'm like, you guys are crazy. Have you met humanity? Have you gone outside and stood in a line at the DMV, or stood in line at Costco, and somebody's in a hurry and they just push you through? Oh, give me an example. Go to an airport. I don't know. Go somewhere and look at the trash. For me, in the natural world, look at the trash on the ground, because we have a wrapper and we go like this. We have a cup. We go like this. Our world is dying because we are horrible hosts. We are horrible stewards. We are
selfish.
Sorry, gonna get mad.
Selfish.
We are killing wolves again. They are shooting wolves because the cattle don't have enough grass to eat, and they're killing the cat. Okay, so I'm gonna.
No, but that's it. All these offenses.
Alex is gonna go with me because we are taking God's job and saying, no, I know what balance looks like. That I have the entire bottle.
Yeah.
You can have the cap.
Yeah, maybe.
And I'm like, no. And the chemicals we're using and the way we go about it, people don't understand why I post so much about honeybees or why I talk about monarch butterflies. They are the most prolific work from Mexico going to Canada, and I have planted fields for them and that kind of stuff. You want to eat? You better love a honeybee, honey.
Absolutely.
That girl is doing everything for your food. Yet we use chemicals and we tear down plants. And so my pages are full of, please plant some flowers. They're beautiful. And they
I want to throw something in there. So I just was talking to someone from a different generation, and I said, we're getting some weeds that are growing outside, right up by the driveway, and I'm not going to pull them out because I did that once and I had allergies, and I'm not using Roundup. So I just wondered if you had any suggestions. And he said, no, there's a special Roundup that is not dangerous. And I said, I don't think so.
There's a special we all know what?
And here's the thing. If you abuse
can use vinegar.
Abuse nature, how can you imagine that nature's not going to respond?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you don't want to pull them out. You can tarp them. You can put, go to dollar stores. They're my favorite place. I tell all my clients to go to a dollar store and try everything, because sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And guess what? You paid $1. Yep. I want to try a new toy. I want to try a new behavior. I want you to go get the worst dog food on the planet because you're going to put this much on the tip of your finger. You're going to get their nose involved so they follow the direction. You teach them what you want, and then you stop using it. It's not about food. It's about changing. So what I'm telling you is, you want to smother the plants down to seed. Just get a hefty bag. Yeah. And it's black.
Bag and just
the sun cannot go through. You don't get moisture. You put rocks around it. It smothers the seed. You have to do that for quite a while because it's got to die down, die roots, die seed. And guess what? You didn't have to pull anything. You could landscape rocks over the top. I don't care. Put little.
I like that. I like the rocks.
Those little characters you get yard signs at the dollar store. I don't care. Put whatever you put pots. Yep. It's that simple.
So that's why people have rocks instead of landscaping.
They put in the landscaping thing. Now there's two kinds. There's more than two kinds, but let me talk about two. One lets the rain go through. And lets it flood.
It's mesh.
So that is a whole different kind of thing. It's usually jute or something that will naturally biodegrade into the soil. And then you've got weed protection ones. I'm not suggesting you go out and buy $1 million weed protection unless you're going to do some serious landscaping. If that's true, then you want something that's going to last and you don't have to do it again. Otherwise, you go get a bunch of hefty bags, cut them up, lay them out, put rocks so it doesn't run away, and you wait a season. Literally, you have to wait a season for that to die. It is really that simple. But nobody wants simple. They want instant gratification.
Yes, so
We
true.
are an entire population of instant gratification. Have you seen fast food?
I have. But guess what we're going to see right now? Now we're going to see messages from our sponsors.
Yay! Nice dancing you get to dance to?
Yes, now we're gonna see some commercials now. We will be right back. Stay tuned.
Okay.
Hey everybody, my name is Ralph Graves Jr. I'm the host of the Ralph Graves Jr. Show, and I want to invite you to pick up my book, Unstoppable. I wrote a book called Unstoppable. It's 7 universal laws that will transform how you pursue and achieve success. The one thing that my 20 years of law enforcement has taught me is that no matter who you are, we are all governed by universal laws, like gravity. But in this book, we're going to talk about laws like the law of forgiveness, laws like the law of control, the law of intelligent practice, the law of expectancy. I was able to see how those, no matter what their background was, those who identified and treated these laws with respect, they were able to go on and lead successful lives. So pick up this book, and you can go ahead and pick it up at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, RalphGravesJr.com, where anywhere where fine books are sold. Thank you.
There are 7.7 billion people on Earth today. 40% of these people are under the age of 25. Young adults are the most fertile mission field in the world today. In Scripture, we see Jesus pouring his life into 12 young adults who he equipped to change the world and all of history. Like Jesus, we believe that the best approach to reach the world with the gospel is to invest in young, emerging leaders and equip them to build disciple-making movements. Concentric is the notion of surrounding and sharing a common center. Our center is the model and strategy of Jesus for both leadership development and ministry formation. As a global alliance, we provide equipping in biblical leadership based on Jesus' example in the New Testament. Jesus modeled for us how to make disciples that reproduce. Focusing on leadership development is key to creating movements that spread the gospel and Jesus' disciple-making strategy to young leaders around the globe. Our Ministry Alliance partners are actively equipping leaders and building movements of multiplication that reproduce the life of Christ. Join us today to equip young leaders with Jesus' strategy that will change cities and nations.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAT partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAT partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
Academy Sedan and Limo is a full-service transportation company serving the Philadelphia metropolitan area with full knowledge of the New York City, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C. areas. We pride ourselves on being the most dependable, conscientious company in the industry. Our always on-time service and dependable pricing make us the company to call for any event or occasion. Our vehicles can accommodate any size party for any occasion. Our vehicles range from four-door sedans to SUVs to minivans to limo buses to full-size tour buses and can accommodate groups of 2 to 100. We offer airport shuttle service or over-the-road service without limitation regarding mileage or time, and no drive is too long or too far. So if you find yourself in need of transportation of any type with any vehicle, give us a call at 610-842-4564 and let us show you what a real transportation company can do for you.
Use code ACADEMY2020 to receive 20% off your first 3 rides, including parking and tolls.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to USA Global TV and Business Talk Radio. We've got you watching and listening. I love it. We are here today with pet psychic Aminah and our guest, Alx Utterman. And in our first segment, we talked about a lot of stuff. I don't know if I can wrap around all the things that we're talking about. But the second segment, Alx, I think you wanted to talk to meditation and in the workplace. Is that right?
Yeah, sure. Or we can keep going on this subject. I'm good any which way, you know.
All right, we'll let Aminah decide.
Ooh, big decisions. Well, I got off my soapbox because there's a lot of them Alx and I could get on. I just want people we can do better and answer your question. If people don't know, you asked, how are we doing in this world and that. I think Alx and I would concur that we are the problem and we should fix it. But we are a very self-centered entity, and that's the problem. People are taking it personally of caring for others, and that's too bad, because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? You like your dry cleaner? Do you like your fast food? Well, they need to go to work, and if they're all dead, then that doesn't really work really well, and extinction has happened. Man and or beast or whatever, and we miss them. The animals were missing, the balance is off, and Alx feels it, I feel it, and when we abuse God-given gifts, which is all of the plants and the little bees and all of that type of stuff, and that's why I push the honeybee, because if you like eating at all, you might want to love these girls, because it's the females that you usually see. They're the working bees. The boys are in the hives usually. And so again, my biggest walk away, Alx, and then I promise I'm gonna get off my soapbox and tell you, but I always want to leave this. If you see a swarm, it is the safest time to be around a honeybee, because they are concentrating on swarming around the queen to move to their new home, which is up to 5 miles away. And all they're doing when they hit up on the side of a building and everybody freaks out and they're hanging on a sign or whatever, or they're resting. Have you ever tried to fly with little bitty wings 5 miles? You can't do it. Come on, think about it. And that's the thing. We don't think about an insect as a sentient being. It's technically not, but it has feelings and a life and a plan, and it has that thing. So just leave them alone, or call a beekeeper if you're really concerned, and they'll love it, and they'll scoop them up and put them in a nice safe hive. But these guys are going because they're creating a new hive at the last one and moving on to another one. But they're the safest, because all they care about is protecting her. All those girls are protecting that queen to go, it is no big deal until you freak out. And then
I think it's interesting when you talk about that, how they're protecting each other, but yet as humankind, we turn on each other, right? We turn on each other. We disrespect nature. Just a quick segue into Alx. So my mom and I walked to the post office last night. We live on an island. It's the height of the summer, so there's a lot of people here, and people generally do pretty well here. So there's a golf cart of young people, and they're clearly drunk, and there's too many of them in the golf cart, and they just start yelling at my mom and me, like just yelling. And I'm thinking, really? And I actually started going towards the car. My mom's like, what? I'm like, that's not nice. That's exactly what I said. I said, that's not nice. Yeah. And I thought, what is wrong with people? Like, these kids have everything. You know what I'm saying? And
that's the problem.
Yeah.
They have everything. I grew up in a very teeny tiny town. The fifth child of a teacher that was the head of his department. Everybody knew my parents because they were in with the mayor. They were in with everybody. It's a little town. Okay, come 20,000 people. You could be in with everybody. But I couldn't get away with anything. But we also cared about everybody.
Yes.
Yeah. So if I decided to take up drinking or smoking or I don't know, something stupid, everybody would have told everybody, did you know I saw your dog? No. You just don't do. But we don't think about how much each of us matters. It's about me, myself, and I.
Yeah.
Even in those groups.
That I want to speak to, the metaphor of the bees, especially, I think is a real microcosm of what is humanity and what's possible. you know, I talk to a lot of different people from all different spiritual walks and faiths and beliefs. And what I keep seeing is the common theme that everybody is trying their absolute best to bring something of beauty, of truth, of light into this planet from whatever angle they're coming. And in that sense, we're like the bees. You know, we're trying our best to protect, as it were, the divine mother, you know, to work together and to create a real, I mean, what do bees do? They take the pollen from the plants, they take something from nature, and through making their process with it, they create honey. You know, they create this amazing substance that's like an immortal substance, right? Honey doesn't age. It never goes bad. It's a unique thing on the planet.
And it's a superfood.
So I feel like that's our, in a divine sense, that's actually what's happening on the planet. Here's the thing. I know it looks really scary and negative and freaky and upsetting right now, and with good reason, right? But I heard a great saint once in an interview, maybe like 20 years ago now. Someone asked him, they said, well, isn't it true that the planet is more negative now than it ever was? And he said, absolutely not. No, it's always been like this. But the difference is there are more people who are awake now who see it. It's like if you went into a dirty room, but the lights are off, you wouldn't know that the room is a mess. You wouldn't know. It's dark. You can't see anything. But if somebody flips on the lights, you're like, oh my God, this is such a mess. We have to clean it up. And that's where humanity is. And this was 20 years ago, this guy said this. I'm like, oh my God. So it's even more now. And I feel that we're seeing the crap for what it is. We're seeing the insanity and the avarice and the selfishness and the you know, power over and the abuse of power and of nature and all that. We're seeing it in pretty clear relief now. More, I think, than maybe ever before. I was also, your ads were talking about Jesus as a leadership, you know, and I was thinking, you know, Christ, he incarnated in Palestine under the Romans. That was not a picnic. That was like a sewer of negativity, right? Like the bright lights always come in the worst negativity places to kind of help clean up the mess. And I was thinking about Christ, you know, his message was very simple. Love each other. It's essentially what the mother is saying through beings like Jesus. Just love each other. Take care of each other. Love your neighbor like you would love yourself. Well, okay, so 2,000 years later, we're not doing a very good job yet. But I feel like all of this disaster and fear and pain and suffering and everything that's kind of like ratcheted up to this global level is kind of forcing people, I think, who didn't have that dictum internalized to kind of like they have to go on their knees and rethink a lot of things. And I think that's healthy, actually, in the long run. In the short run, it's terrible.
Alx, you bring up so many good points, and I want to ask you both about this. Talking about cleaning up, you know, we're supposed to be washing our hands more and using hand sanitizer, etc. And I've been reading lately that a number of celebrities, people who are influencers, have decided not to bathe as often and not to bathe their children, and that when the children actually have visible dirt on their body, they will then bathe them. So I'm just wondering, when it comes to the next generation, what kind of messaging is that? I don't know. Is this going to be a trend? I'm not really sure.
No, I think, you know what, the hippie generation did that too, right? Everybody was just kind of like natural and no deodorant and stinky and you
no shaving.
Right. You know, I think it's an absurdity, and I don't think it's going to amount to anything. But it does speak to a kind of lack of clarity, I think, about, you know, what are you doing on this planet with your children? You don't want them to be dirty little monstrous. I mean, it's insane. That's insane.
Yeah, because it starts there, right? So if the message that as adults that we get and probably will keep with us for a long time is wash your hands, right? Yeah. Wash your hands, keep your hands clean, use hand sanitizer, wipe everything off. But yet have a younger generation. We're saying, hey, it's okay, just be dirty, which is the exact opposite.
Stupid. Yeah, and wait, I mean, children are germ, you know, laboratories anyway.
Exactly.
So now you're sending your little, you know, Tommy to school, and little Tommy is a disgusting little dirt freak. And
he's a petri dish. Just wait.
He's going to get so sick and get all his little friends sick with all kinds of stupid things that are completely unnecessary. No, it's ridiculous. It just contravenes everything that we know about basic hygiene and science and sanity. Honestly, it's like there's no common sense there at all. It's ridiculous. And I think it doesn't make
sense. Even historically, you've got all these plagues, and people blame the rats and people blame this. But you know what? They went back and said, wait a minute, it's the way we store grain.
Yeah.
And it molded, and it was the way we you put a jar, there it is, the rats ran in, you pooped on it, and it was not directly the rats, it's the way we're storing things, it's the way we're preparing things. So if you're not going to wash your hands and you're not going to cover your mouth with your sleeve, not your hands, for the snake's sake.
Every time I see this, I just
okay, this is called a Kleenex, and it's a brand, and so get a little one of these. But every time you do this, and then you do this, use your elbows, people, or get gloves, or all you have to do is history will teach us so much.
That's another point I wanted to bring up, Aminah. Thank you for saying that just now, because you reminded me when you were saying you taught history.
No, somebody else told me said that,
and we looked at things and. There is a kind of, there are two kinds of people in the world now. There's a kind of classification about basic intelligence, which is the following. Some people can learn from hearing the story of someone else who made a mistake and then not do that mistake. Or they can see some kind of colossal mistake and go, oh my God, I'm not going to do that. Or hear about it, like history, for example. We have plenty of examples. You mentioned the 1918 pandemic. We learned a lot from that, including that people went crazy and didn't want to mask. That prolonged.
Well, and they got out too soon, and then they had to go back.
Exactly. Nobody wants to repeat what we've heard.
Yeah, I keep telling everybody, read your history. Don't go get functioning
when we're functioning on that level. However, there are people who, for whatever karmic reason, is they don't learn unless it happens to them. Teenagers, for example, right? Oh, I'm immortal until I wrecked the car that you told me not to drive when I was drunk. Oh, now I get it. Right?
By the way, I'm dead, but
go through it themselves. It's kind of like a foggy intelligence. It's not clear. Clear is, oh my God, I heard that happen to somebody. Okay, I'm going to avoid that thing. I don't need to go through that myself to prove it that, I'm vulnerable in that way. Or that I'm, in fact, not immortal in the way that I thought I was if I drove my car to, a tree. But other people, they have to learn for themselves. And it's really painful. And I think we're seeing that also writ large. That kind of character cannot take the lessons from history, cannot take the lessons from what they see around them in the world. Like, for whatever reason, they can't believe it. They can't trust it. They can't wrap their mind around it in a certain kind of way until it happens to them. And then maybe they learn. And then, unfortunately, maybe it's too late. I'm seeing stories out of many, many states in the U.S. on the front lines where people now dying of COVID are asking, can't you give me the vaccine? And the healthcare workers are like, dude, it's too late.
Yeah.
No, we can't now.
Yeah.
We've had chances, many chances for months.
Well, it's like saying I'm gonna work with a bandsaw, a chainsaw, any of those lovely, loud, big machines, and I have worked with them. And we're gonna tell you to keep your hands, out here, and the bandsaw's in the middle, and then you cut your finger off and said, "Oh, wait a minute, I want it back."
Yeah,
well, thanks to be you, we might be able to glue it. There's super glue, but it's just like you can't go back after the mistake. You can learn from it, but if it's so catastrophic that it takes your life, then you need to own that.
Yeah.
And
so I was listening to a really interesting debate on Clubhouse today in the Breakfast of Champions room. Again, not a paid spokesperson, but it was about. The one person was saying one thing and one person was saying another thing, and I'd love to have you weigh in on this. So the one person was saying that this is the United States of America, and we're supposed to be able to have the ability to decide what's best, right? Have rights to make a decision about what's best. Mm-hmm. And the other person said the problem and the reason why people are not running to get vaccinated is because the data has been so conflicting and the media got all involved in Fauci and this and that. And so if people had clear information, they might make a better decision. And the other guy said that is absolutely not the case. That people are not, it doesn't matter what the information is. Some people just want to stand on premise, and that's why they're not doing it. So without us getting crazy, go ahead, Alx, what are your thoughts?
In an avalanche, every snowflake pleads not guilty. We're in an avalanche. It's a pandemic, right? Sorry, rights in this case means privilege. Look at the people who are talking about, oh, my freedoms are being impinged on.
What color are they?
And socioeconomic status and sometimes religion. Who is saying my rights, my freedoms, my freedoms? No, I'm sorry. It's a code word for privilege. I have the privilege to declaim this thing that I think is not right for me. Oh, really? And essentially they're saying, and I don't care if it occurs to me and then I transmit it to tons of people and inadvertently kill them. Wow, too bad. No harm, no foul. No, sorry, it's a pandemic. This is a different situation. The information is out there. It's very clear. It's been pretty clear from the beginning. The instant this thing started, I have a very dear friend who is a Mormon, a very devout Mormon, beautiful woman, and a orthopedic surgeon. And she came over and she said, Alx, this was like February of 2020, before it really hit the US in March. She said, Alx, this thing is coming and the signs are there and everybody's worried. And honestly, it's going to be masks. It's going to be social distancing. And she was saying to me, you can't teach your in-person workshops anymore. I'm serious. And I said, yeah, I have one this weekend and then that's it. I'm done. Because I could see the writing on the wall as well. This is not rocket science. This is not rocket science. The information's been out there. The only conflicting information has been by the disinformation mills, 12 major influencers on social media who had an idea to just throw a monkey wrench in the works and go, oh, vaccines aren't real. COVID's not real. You don't need to take care of this. The vaccines will kill you. La, 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 la. Meanwhile, the CDC and everybody's scrambling to say, guys, no, this is a pandemic. This is really serious. You want first masking, right? When they found out how it was transmitted through breath. Okay, masking, right? Social distancing, but my rights. My right to what? Go into a business without wearing a mask and kill people? I don't have a right to murder people. It's akin to drunk driving. I am told don't have alcohol and drive a vehicle for really obvious reasons, right? If I do that, first off, it's illegal and I happen to kill somebody and then I start raving about my rights. We have a really big problem. And it's a problem of belief system. It's a problem of disinformation. It's a problem of fear. It's a problem of manipulation. And a lot of people, unfortunately, are buying that hook, line, and sinker. And you know what? They can say in the avalanche, like the snowflakes, I'm innocent. But that really doesn't fly.
Well, and Alx, I'd like to add one more piece in everybody's faces. It's about me, myself, and I. We have become such an incredible selfish community of that's how our world is burning down and floods, fires, the ice is going, all that. And you go, well, it doesn't affect me. I don't live near polar bears.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but the honeybee, you might be concerned, but I can't convince enough people this little bitty thing can't be eradicated because it might bite you. Oh, get over it, the little stinger, you hicked out. I had my cousin's wife, and we were going to one of my uncle's funerals, and I was in their back seat, and she refused to put on a seatbelt because it had just become law. Okay, This was a very long time ago. It had just become law. And she's like, no one's going to tell me not to wear a seatbelt. It's your example of when you hit somebody and you take their life. Because a lot of drunk drivers, they live. Yes. Because they're all jello bodies and just flinging around. And when you resist, you break bones. You go, oh, God, this is going to be terrible. I have been hit head on. I saw it coming because she never looked me in the eye. She'd come off Highway 101 very quick. I'm in my car with a 3 and a 4-year-old. And I'm thinking, oh, please let them be buckled in their seatbelt or in their car seats because this is not the time for them to try crawling out. And they didn't really do that. But I don't have time to turn around. I have just time to keep doing what I'm doing so I don't rip off the side of my brand new car.
Good God.
Anyways, it is all about choice. Yeah. But when you decide that you're more valuable than everything else on the planet, including the animals, including nature, this is where we are at today.
And I have to
about everybody.
And I have to say, nature, the divine, won't stand for that.
Right, exactly.
Not take that. And so the slaps come. And if people are smart and recognize the slap, oh my God, okay.
Because it steps up every time you don't.
It's going to show up for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's where we're getting into agricultural struggling. Our nature preserves are struggling. The whole world, you got the ozone thing. We're burning down in every corner. We're flooding in other corners because we decided a dam was really important to put right here. Well, you just starved everybody who was after you, and the beavers and the this and this, and then the entire thing collapsed. When California had its huge earthquake in whatever 1990 something, and the buildings literally sank into the ground, and our freeways went like this. Now we're built better for earthquakes than a lot of places because we deal with them. But we had whole buildings and people just gone. And we made
just happened in Florida, as you know.
Yes, exactly. And we're still fighting PG&E to do better on their wiring and that kind of stuff. But it costs money, and they keep saying it costs money, and I'm thinking,
really?
I'm sorry, did you pay for it? Because I have a friend whose home he bought it 60 days before the fire, burned straight to the ground, and he was in his 70s, and so all his memorabilia, he'd been a musician all his life, all his instruments, all his music, everything, all his memories from his parents, gone in a flash, and they gave him some money to buy another house.
Great. Great. Thank you.
It's not enough for the heart. And this is where people are making choices that are catastrophic to the world, because one of us goes, oh, I'm just going to throw this straw out. It doesn't matter. It's just a little straw. Okay, it'll be there for the next 50 years, and your straw and the next guy's straw and the next Kleenex, and then it adds up because there's too many of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a world of selfishness, and there's so many of us who are selfless trying to help others, but we need more people. We need everybody to take accountability from the moment you wake up. Look at your actions, what you're doing, and how it's affecting the planet. I mean, I know that since I started broadcasting, I am so much more on top of things, of what I'm doing, than I was before. You know, whether it's recycling, buying clothing that's been worn by other people, you know, like just everything, turning off all my lights in between shows. Exactly. Even if it's 10 minutes, I shut them all off and then put them back on. And so little things that add up.
Simple things like that. Don't take a gum wrapper and throw it on the ground. How we're talking a little wrapper. I know one blew out of my hand once. And I think I belly ached and cried for like 4 blocks because we were I was in a car or a bike. And I was like, oh my God. And my daughter's like, what's the problem? I just lit her. But that's why I can't do it now as much because of the disease that's out there. But I pick up trash as I walk. Yeah. I go for a lot of walks and I pick up a lot of trash. And there's trash cans around the place I walk. So it's just like, how hard is this, people? This is just... it's too bad. We
don't even have time to get into it today about the oceans and how polluted they are. And then we're eating the fish and not even thinking, hello, that fish is eating the trash. And now we're eating the fish. Like, put it together.
And that's why we are so unhealthy, because everything we're eating, unless you're eating organic and natural, grazing animals or whatever, if you just took, and I mean you as everybody's population, looked at how your cows are milked, how their babies are stolen, how the grief that they go through, and then you look at how animals are butchered. And
why would you want to eat that?
I read up on all of this, and they're shooting them and doing it more humanely.
Why would you want to eat
the trauma that they go through in the process of knowing that they are about to die or whatever, if you could see what your bacon goes through or what your chicken goes through, and the forcing of all of this, I would hope that 50% of the people, if I could dream a dream, because I think that's all I would get, is 50% of the people would make different food choices.
I think you're right. We have a comment.
You're putting poison in your body every time you eat something that has been tortured to feed you. And you're supposed to eat healthy, but if your food has been tortured to get to you, I don't understand how that's healthy.
Of course, and you're ingesting that, and then what does that do to your system? There's a comment here from Diane saying, unfortunately, it's helping around the world.
I think you mean happening, Diane, right? Happening around the world? The dams, the Nile River. Yeah. I like how Alx said we finally have people opening their eyes, but we need it to happen all over the world.
And that's the role of spirituality and healing. That's my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
The more, listen, the fundamental disease on this planet is heartbreak. And out of that comes the selfishness, and out of that comes the greed, and out of that comes the suspicion and the fear and the suffering and the pain and the unconscious inflicting that on the people around us, right? Hurt people, right? Okay.
Right.
So if we can create enough high-level spiritual masters, real characters who can handle that suffering and, like the bees, transform that raw dust into some beautiful nectar of an immortal awareness and the kind of sensitivity that Aminah is talking about, then we can turn the tide of this planet. We can keep going only in the same way and only trying to force solutions on the surface level only.
Right.
You know, like if we just have one more protest, if we just have one more good organization trying to call attention to the slaughterhouses and the bees and the animal conditions and all this. Yeah, right. What does that do to the machines of greed and power over and this whole structure of oligarchy that we see? No, it doesn't. It can't. If you only go on the surface level, you only get blowback on the surface level. If you go to the next layer down, the deeper, the unseen, the sort of cosmic level of spirituality, healing the hearts, then automatically it starts to shift. And that, I feel, is what the nature, the cosmic, the divine intelligence, the God energy, the mother, whatever you want to call it, is trying desperately to convey to humanity. Like, hey guys, hey little kids, it's time to wake up now.
Yeah.
We could be functional adults in this world and operate on a much, much more conscious and much more divine level.
Yeah.
Alx, thank you so much. That is such a great way to end our show, because we could be here all day. There's so many themes that we have brought up today that I just love it, because there's so much going on in this world that we need a major wake up call. So I know you're coming back again, and when is that? The next Friday?
Well, I'm not sure. So Alx there and I are going to have her on Flex. I've got a brand new animal person coming at the end of the month, and we've got Catherine coming on the 20th. So I've got a brand new. It's not on the market. He just invented it. It's for animals. I'm going to leave it a secret, and he's going to tell us all about it, and we're going to go on his trip. He's just gotten the patent. That's why he's finally able to talk about it, because if he talks about it before the patent, it might be stolen. So I interviewed him yesterday, and we had so much fun. So he is going to come and talk about his new patent. And he said, but I can't sell it. I said, yeah, but everybody's going to want to know your journey. Everybody's going to want to know where you came up with the idea and how you got it patented. And then we watch you put it out in the market. It's just for animals. And he worked in a vet clinic. I worked in a vet clinic. So we're going to talk lots.
All right. That's exciting. Yes.
I hope you'll come back every once in a while and keep us in the loop of this amazing passion. I honor you deeply. I honor you deeply.
Thank you.
Alx, would you like to leave us as we set off for the weekend with a mantra or a short meditation or anything you want to leave us with? We would be happy.
Yeah. How much time do we have?
How about 3 minutes?
Oh,
is that enough?
Yeah.
Is that enough?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's do a meditation and pray to the mother, especially the mother divine. However you think about the divine feminine, maybe Mother Nature, maybe Mother Mary, maybe Isis, maybe Lakshmi. It doesn't matter what you call her. The mother is the mother. It's the universal feminine principle. And ask her heartfully. Ask her, hey, Ma, help us wake up the hearts. Help us open the hearts to this planet. So just take a couple minutes in silence, and I'll sing a little closing prayer to cement that in a minute or two. And if you want to add a mantra, you could add just simply Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May all beings be happy and blessed. May the energy we generate here go to the whole world to create peace. Thank you to the divinity. Thank you to you guys, and thanks to everybody who's listening, watching, and hoping and praying that the heart's open on this planet and we stop our crazy downward spiral and allow everything to come up to a really divine awareness.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. I got chills. Thank you. It's beautiful. Alx, how do people reach you and who should contact you?
Well, anybody who's interested in deep layers of spirituality and learning the kinds of stuff that I learned in India to access these types of energy and really understand deeply the nature of the mother and how this planet operates, they can find me at ucbk.org, the Universal Church of Baba's Kitchen. We have a lot of webinars, we have a lot of group activities, healing ceremonies, and I do private healing work as well, especially for anybody who already themselves is a healer of some sort, but they would like more skills and a wider array of being able to help humanity. If it is someone in the medical service occupations, healing or helping, like caregivers, teachers, clergy, retail, HR, anybody who has to deal with people for a living and absorb a lot of their stress and pain, and then you don't know what to do with it, and it gets overwhelming and turns toward burnout. You can find techniques that I purposed from India to really help dissolve stress and strain rapidly or while you're working, so it doesn't require extra time for self-care after. And that website is energeticsofselfcare.com. They're beautiful short video trainings that give simple tools you can use for a lifetime and bring a lot of relief to yourself.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Such a pleasure having you here. You have a beautiful weekend. And Aminah, how can people get in touch with you?
bridgingworlds.us. It's easier just to say it easy. I literally bridge world, so add an ing. bridgingworlds.us. Everything about our show, everything about me is there, my resume basically, and I'd love to see you on Facebook if you love silly and fun and education.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm sorry I'm laughing, but when my co-hosts, I know their contact information. I hear it in my head all the time. So I just laugh, I go, bridging worlds.
Well, everybody gets it, at least, that's what we do. I mean, Alx the same way. We're bridging the worlds we have studied and learn and God-given gifts and say, hey, let me explain. Let me explain. And if we empower you to do it, then you can do better in the natural world of loving the things that we're so passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
Well, fantastic. Well, it's been a pleasure having both of you. I hope you have a beautiful weekend and keep spreading that beautiful, positive energy.
Great to be with you ladies, and have a great weekend.
Yeah, thanks, you too. And for anybody watching who missed the beginning, please go over to our YouTube channel, USA Global TV. You can watch all of our shows there. You can also watch us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Twitch. You can listen on Business Talk Radio. But I always send people to YouTube. Oh, forgot Apple, Amazon, Pandora. Okay, that's enough. All right.
Facebook, Bridging Worlds. I mean, all of this is going to be there too, because I'm going to post the link as everybody else, and I'm going to post it on Facebook and LinkedIn. So you go anywhere, type it in, and you will find us.
Beautiful. All right, sounds good. Thank you again. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye, Alx. Bye, Aminah. Well, that is a wrap for our shows for this week. Thank you so much. We normally have 18 shows a week. This week, I think we had 15, but who's counting? So I just want to put out there, I am starting as of September the 1st, the 75-day challenge, which is 75 hard challenge. And so I'm going to change my behavior to push myself to the next level. There's actually a book out called 75, I think it's called 75 Hard Challenge. So thank you. And for the gentleman who is on Twitch, who is writing all these obscene comments, we don't appreciate it. So please just stop. Anyway, I look forward to seeing everyone next week. Thank you, Aminah. Thank you, Alx. We really appreciate you. And we'll be back soon. Bye-bye.